Right, jumping right into this deep dive. You sent us some articles from Kennedy Assassination Chronicles.
Yeah.
And we're going to be focusing on Lee Harvey Oswald and Cold War conspiracies.
Yes, some fascinating stuff here.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
You know what's interesting is that a lot of this mystery revolves around missing pieces, especially missing interrogation notes from the hours after the assassination, like trying to solve a crime without the witness testimony.
Right, so we've got these notes that we're missing, and then they suddenly reappear.
Yeah, exactly.
What happened there?
So for years, you know, we had no firsthand accounts of these crucial interrogations. It's like a whole chapter ripped out of the history books.
Okay.
And then, boom, 2 sets of notes surface years after the Warren Commission wrapped up.
Hold on, 2 sets.
2 sets.
Who took these notes?
Okay, so the first set belonged to FBI agent James Hosty, who was involved in questioning Oswald, and he claimed to have destroyed them, following standard FBI procedure. But years later, surprise.
Oh, wow.
Tucked away in his personal papers, they were found.
Okay, that already sounds a little
suspicious. A little bit. What about the second set?
So those belong to Dallas Police Captain Will Fritz, who led a good chunk of Oswald's interrogation. And these were donated anonymously to the Assassination Records Review Board back in '97.
An anonymous donation. This is getting more and more like a spy thriller.
It is, and here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
So Fritz's notes actually contradict his official report.
Interesting.
On a pretty key detail.
Okay.
They record Oswald admitting to writing a note to the FBI.
Didn't that note become a huge deal?
Oh, yeah.
Later on?
Absolutely. News of its existence didn't come out until 1975.
Wow.
A full 11 years later.
That's a long time.
It caused a media frenzy, even sparked congressional hearings.
Now think about it. If those notes had been public back in '64, who knows how the Warren Commission's investigation might have played out?
Right. The whole narrative
Completely different.
could have been different.
Yeah.
That's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder what else might have been
right.
conveniently forgotten about.
Yeah, or left out.
During that investigation.
And there's actually a third set of notes.
Oh, come on, there's more.
There's more.
Who else was taking notes?
These were from Secret Service agent Forrest Sorrells.
Okay.
Who was also present.
Uh-huh.
Now, what's strange is that these notes did end up in the Warren report.
Okay.
But they were buried.
Interesting.
Within Jack Ruby's interrogation notes.
Okay.
Completely out of order.
That's like hiding a clue.
It is.
In plain sight.
It almost feels deliberate, doesn't it? Like someone was trying to make them difficult to find.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're out of chronological order just muddies the waters even further.
Yeah. So what are we supposed to make of this?
Well,
I mean, were these notes deliberately hidden, or is this just a string of bizarre coincidences?
It's tough to say for sure, but you know what's clear is that the delayed emergence and peculiar placement of these notes casts a long shadow over the whole investigation.
It does.
It raises serious questions about transparency.
Yeah.
And whether information was intentionally withheld, and if so, why?
Yeah, it makes the foundation of the Warren Report's conclusions seem a little shaky.
Yeah.
To say the least.
And this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Okay.
These articles you've shared go even deeper, connecting the Kennedy assassination to some pretty shadowy Cold War operations.
And that's what I'm talking about. Let's get into those Cold War conspiracies.
Okay.
There was one in particular that caught my eye. Operation Northwoods.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty ominous.
Yeah. Ominous is putting it mildly. Operation Northwoods was a plan by the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Okay.
During the Cold War.
Right.
They wanted to stage false flag attacks.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, serious attacks.
Wow.
Potentially even killing American citizens.
Wow.
To justify a full-blown invasion of Cuba.
So they were willing to sacrifice American lives.
It's crazy, right? Just to get support for war. A chilling reminder of the lengths people will go to in the name of national security.
Yeah.
So they wanted to bomb a U.S. ship in Guantanamo Bay.
Wow.
And pin it on Cuba. Maybe even fake a Cuban terrorist attack here on U.S. soil.
That's terrifying to even think about, and the articles you shared make a connection between Operation Northwoods and another covert operation called Gladio.
Gladio.
Was this Gladio thing on U.S. soil?
So Gladio is mainly a European operation, orchestrated by the CIA and NATO.
Right.
But its tactics are what's relevant here. They use something called a strategy of tension to manipulate public opinion and maintain control. Terrorism assassinations, all blamed on communists, to create this atmosphere of fear and uncertainty.
So they created chaos to convince people they needed more control.
Right. It seems counterproductive. But imagine a population so scared of a communist takeover that they would willingly give up their freedoms for safety.
Yeah, that's
genius of this strategy of tension.
So now think about the Kennedy assassination.
Yeah.
Could it have been a similar play?
Right.
Eliminating a leader who was seen as a threat?
Yeah, a threat to the status quo.
Okay, and Kennedy was pushing for peace.
Exactly.
Trying to ease those Cold War tensions.
He wanted to de-escalate the arms race.
Right.
Find a peaceful solution to the Cuban Missile Crisis. Even hinted at pulling back from Vietnam. He represented a break from that Cold War mindset that had gripped the nation. And we know the powers that be weren't always thrilled with his approach.
So are we saying that someone might have seen Kennedy as a liability, an obstacle to their agenda?
It's a possibility that can't be ignored.
Right.
Especially when you consider the context of these other covert operations. The missing notes, the inconsistencies in the official narrative.
Right.
It's like someone was very carefully curating the story, leaving out anything that didn't fit their version of events.
Hold on. Are you saying you believe in a conspiracy?
Oh, I'm not saying I have all the answers or that I subscribe to any one theory.
Right.
But I am saying that there are enough unanswered questions, enough inconsistencies to have a healthy dose of skepticism.
I think that's fair.
We can't just accept the official story at face value.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's not just about the Kennedy assassination.
No, this applies to so many historical events.
So what's the takeaway for anyone looking into this stuff? I mean, how do we separate fact from fiction?
Right.
Especially with something as complex as the Kennedy assassination.
I think it's about more than just one event.
Right.
It's about how we understand history. Yeah.
Understanding that history is rarely black and white.
Right.
It's messy, full of contradictions.
Yeah.
And often shaped by forces we don't fully understand.
Right.
And when it comes to events like the Kennedy assassination, with all the unanswered questions, the conflicting accounts, healthy skepticism is essential.
Okay, so do we just become full-blown conspiracy theorists?
No.
Questioning everything?
It's not about going down every rabbit hole or accepting every wild theory out there.
Right.
It's about being a critical thinker. It's about asking tough questions, evaluating evidence, and considering multiple perspectives.
Right.
And honestly, that applies to anything we learn.
That's a good point.
Not just historical events.
Right. We're bombarded with information these days.
Right.
It can be hard to know what to believe.
Exactly. Which is why it's more important than ever to develop those critical thinking skills.
Okay.
Don't just passively absorb information. Engage with it.
How do we do that? Question the source. Look for biases. Consider the context. It's like being a detective piecing together a puzzle.
Yeah. You know, that's what I find so fascinating about these deep dives. It's like, we're doing our own detective work.
Exactly.
We're digging into these sources, these historical documents. And trying to uncover these hidden stories.
It's a journey of discovery. And sometimes what we find can be unsettling.
Right.
But uncovering those uncomfortable truths, those hidden agendas, is crucial if we want to understand how the world really works.
And maybe learning from those mistakes of the past can help us avoid repeating them.
That's the hope, isn't it?
Yeah.
Understanding the forces that shaped history, we can create a better future. One where transparency and accountability prevail. And where the truth, however uncomfortable, is always sought after.
Well said. I think we've covered a lot of ground today. You've given us a lot to think about. It's clear there's still much more to uncover.
Absolutely.
When it comes to the Kennedy assassination.
Oh, yeah.
And the world Cold War conspiracies.
This is just the beginning of your exploration.
I like that.
Keep asking those tough questions. Keep digging for answers. And keep that critical thinking cap on.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. And to our listeners, we encourage you to keep exploring these topics. Dig deeper. Question everything, and never stop seeking the truth.
Well said.
Until next time, keep those critical thinking caps on